is on the, on Rafah. You said that your understanding is that this is a very limited operation. So the Israelis can conceivably do a number of limited operations. In other words, collectively it will be a big operation, but they can strike this area of Rafah and that area of Rafah and so on. Would that also be okay with you?
So I'm not going to speculate about some hypothetical scenario that may happen in the future, but obviously there is a point where a series of limited operations are one large one. That's just as a theoretical point is obviously true, but in terms of what might happen, I'm just not going to speculate on that or comment on such a hypothetical.
On the crossings, I mean, isn't it, you said that the crossing of Karm Abu Salim or Karm Shalom was closed because of the strike. But in fact, what was struck was a military base or a military encampment for the Israelis, and not really the crossing itself. I'm just saying.
So, I mean, you could make that argument. It was that strike at Kerem Shalom that precipitated its closure. And I would say, yes, it appears that the strike was aimed at IDF forces there, but could have hit the humanitarian workers, could have hit everyone coming through. It's that strike that precipitated its closure. But that said, you should be very clear about what our position is. We want to see it open. We want to see it open as soon as possible. They've said that they'll open it tomorrow. We'll see. We're going to work to see that happens.
Isn't it a bit cynical of the Israelis, to do this on the day after Cindy McCain came out and said there's a full-blown famine in Gaza? They closed, Rafah. They closed Karm Abu Salim. They closed all these things. Doesn't that bother you that right after the head of the World Food Program comes out and says there's a full-blown famine in Gaza, they went and closed it?
So I don't think you have to draw a connection between those comments and the closing of those two gates. It doesn't matter. We want to see the gates open because we know the humanitarian situation is dire in Gaza. We know that people need food and need water and need medical supplies, and that's why we want to see those crossings open. It's also why we work to get Erez crossing open. It's why we're working on a maritime option. It's why we have continued to work hard from the president on down to get humanitarian assistance delivered into Gaza.
One last question on the settlements. The Israeli settlers seem to use, they shepherd their sheep and so on, using their guns and so on to basically take over, to seize West Bank land. Are you aware of this report?
I don't know. Well, I'm not aware of this specific report, but obviously that has been something that has been well reported and well documented over the past several months, as well as preceding that time.
Thank you.
And I thought there's going to be a follow-up question. Since not, I'll just go ahead. We have made clear that the Israeli government needs to do more to crack down on settler violence. They need to do more to police settler violence. They need to do more to hold extremist settlers accountable for their violent actions. And we have also made clear, and you've seen us roll out sanctions to this effect, that when we don't see sufficient action, we're ready and willing to take action ourselves, and we will continue to do so.
Thank you.
Yeah.